What's up, everybody? This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. Shane is out of town on spring break. I'm JP.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Kaden.
Back again. It's been a while since we've had Kaden on, but you may have heard him recently on the Casual Relief Podcast with Ben and Mike and Matt. And you guys gave Matt the business a little bit.
There were a lot of opportunities where he just kind of opened the door for some.
That's how I feel every week, man. He just is just leaving it open. And poor him, because we tell him, like, you're just setting us up, man. And then it's just there.
Well, and I mean, kudos to him for being a good sport, though. He takes it.
Yeah,
He does,
absolutely.
Pretty dang well.
It's just kind of like throwing an alley-oop and someone's just got to finish it, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's just alley-ooping to us.
Nice. All right, so let's get into it. First, we got to push the socials. Door_disc_golf, night_owls_pod. Those are our Instagram handles. You can check out doordisc.com for all your disc golf needs. And YouTube is also, you can check out Door Disc on YouTube. That's where this video lands, Casual Relief, and we push out a bunch of shorts. And I'm sure we'll be pushing out more videos once the summer and the weather get a little nicer, which it is, but we will see.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. Not like the spring weather we had this past weekend. So, before we get into anything serious, here's just a little rundown of what we got going on. We're going to talk about a tournament we had this weekend, Springtime Open up by us. We'll get into the Clash at the Creek. The countdown is on. That's coming up just a few short weeks here. Thrower Hanger Flipper. We're going to talk Throw Down the Mountain. Ricky being 50-50 at the Music City Open, and we'll also get into that a little bit. And then we'll have some shop updates. And I don't have any like thought-provoking questions like Shane ever does. So nothing big and exciting to talk about there. But let's get into this weekend and what a couple of us would say would be springtime weather for Wisconsin or late winter. We had the Springtime Open in Bailey's Harbor, and we played at Wildberry Fields, which is our local course. And then we had, of course, the golf course at Max Wilton Braves, which had a little bit of a different layout. We had a couple new holes that may have shifted positions, but 40 to 50 mile an hour winds first round, along with some light to moderate snow. And then it got beautiful the second half of the day, but it was still a little chilly. So Ben was there. What was your takeaway, Ben, of the event?
Springtime Open is always a fun time. Historically, today was not a fun time. Or I shouldn't say today. I should say this past weekend for me was not a fun time. I injured my knee in round one and was unable to continue. So, it's just one of those things where it's just you'd rather, pull out of this event and make sure you have a good rest of your season, to make sure you have a rest of your season. So I made the decision to pull out in between rounds. But it's, still good to go up with some buddies, get to hang out at the shop and, see some people and, do the whole tournament thing. I think Springtime Open is just kind of like a big family reunion as far as like Wisconsin disc golf goes, because it's, one of the kind of the two openers for us up by us. So, it's good to see all your friends your disc golf friends that you didn't get to see over the course of the winter.
Absolutely. And Kaden, you had signed up but weren't able to make it. Is that right?
No, unfortunately not. Actually, I didn't end up signing up for the solos.
Oh, you didn't?
But I did
Okay.
sign up for the doubles. I had a little bit of a scheduling, scheduled some other things before I was really paying attention to the tournament dates and whatnot, and managed to get in for the doubles and got to have quite a bit of fun. But other than that, still got to enjoy part of the springtime open.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Sunday, not as snowy, still as windy. How did you were partners with Bjorn, right?
Yes, the Whirling Dervishes were back for another year. We had a we had a pretty good time. We got to play from longs, and we actually played better from longs, ironically, than we did from shorts for the second round. But it seemed like it was a bit gustier. Uh, the sun didn't peak out, as often as that first round, so got a little bit more frigid. But the people that were on our card each round, it was a really good time. We had a lot of fun. We got to see an eagle on 17,
Dang.
which was mind blowing.
Nice.
Yeah, we got to see a monster drive and like a 75-foot putt with the drop off on the backside. So it was a true death putt. So it was really exciting to see.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, there were some kind of cool shots to be seen, but the wind just made it almost unbearable. And not, I don't know if it's the worst conditions I can say I've played in for this tournament, maybe the second worst, because the very first year, I think there was 18 inches on the ground and another, like almost a foot that ended up falling the same day. But I'll tell you, I was just driving from home, which is about a 10-15 minute drive. And it took me about 20 minutes to get to the course. I was fishtailing all over the highway because the night before we got tons of rain. It was windy and just treacherous. And I myself played absolutely crappy at Wildberry. I think I shot my second worst round there. And it wasn't fun. Like every putt felt like a headwind putt for whatever reason. Like didn't matter what direction you were going in. Hard to get grip. Like I had towels, I had just dry sacks, like anything I could do to like keep a disc dry. It didn't work because almost every disc I had was premium plastic. I'd have to be throwing like something soft, like a putter, but then nothing was stable enough to fight the wind.
I felt that because that was the course that I played in the one round I did get in, and every single putt was just getting pushed out of the air, just pushed down like 20 footers, nothing like super crazy. Like you think you'd have it, and then you'd either go like just front cage and then just like miss completely. It was tough. It was really tough to putt.
From what I heard from some other people that have played in the tournament, that they were putting with their disc upside down. One person was actually putting with their mid range just so they could have something to compensate for how high those winds were. But I was on my way down to Green Bay during basically the peak of the first round, and my heart was going out to you guys. I was just thinking, I don't know how I don't know how you guys are going to be able to throw plastic in, almost whiteout conditions here and there and some ripping winds.
Yeah, it definitely was close to whiteout conditions. Like I think there's somebody on my card who was putting on hole 5 facing out towards the road, and the wind was just blowing straight across hole 5 and just nothing but snow in his face. Could barely see. I think he ended up laying up or two putted, just trying to get it close to the basket. And it's one of those tournaments, like springtime's the tournament that obviously for us, I mean, maybe, I don't know, I want to get something under my belt, and I always feel good because it's close to home and I want to be able to like support Dark County disc golf. But part of me is like, why do I punish myself by signing up for this tournament? Because like the weather is just so up in the air most of the time. Like it could, 2 years ago we had really great weather. Like there was nothing on the ground, beautiful. And then all of a sudden late winter here and boom. I don't know. Just it's punishing. I look at all these other
I think
places.
we're due for one then.
Yeah, we might be due for one. Who knows? All right, is that enough on springtime? Anybody else got anything else to say?
No, I only got to experience half of it.
Yeah. Actually, Michael ended up cashing an MPO for the first time and accepted cash. So no going back for him,
Yeah,
Michael
congrats.
Cunningham. He plays. Did he get
That
fifth?
was
Is that
that
right?
was awesome to see.
Yeah, I think he took fifth. I think that's kind of that was his place. I know he got over $150, so that's a pretty good payday for your first MPO event for sure.
That's
Yeah,
definitely decent. Weren't you guys joking about him taking you out to dinner on the way home?
Yeah, he never did,
well, what the hey?
but
Taco Burrito Mexico
but
when he got back? Is that what the deal was?
no, as we say, no free ads. But we went to Lost Tuk Tuk for noodle
Oh,
night,
nice.
Ooh,
and it was so good. And like I texted Michael like Sunday morning, and I was like, I'm still thinking about those
Yeah.
noodles. Like they were so good.
And
So we will be making a pilgrimage back there for
nice,
sure.
nice.
let me know.
I was well. I no more free ads, but Ben and Laura, the owners, are actually opening up a new location at it's a new brewery in Bailey's Harbor, and so they're actually doing tacos and like Mexican food, like street style tacos and stuff there. So that's coming early
Wow,
this
cool.
spring, like more towards May, perhaps, at the Sway. The brewery's called Sway. So in the morning it's going to be a bakery, and then at night they're going to have, and like lunch on, it's going to be the Mexican food, and then downstairs is the brewery, and then they have an upstairs which is going to be the restaurant and the tap room. So that's pretty awesome for Door County.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good to see Ben dipping his toes back into the beer scene.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's involved in beer, but yeah, long time. You know, their family was linked to Door County Brewery for a long time, so yeah, it's nice. All right, let's move on to thrower, hanger, flipper. Did anybody get anything besides myself?
I got a
Get
disc
both
in a
of them.
player's pack.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
I did not pick up my disc from the players pack. I forgot all about it.
Oh no.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, it. I don't. It was DD plastic or whatever. I don't throw a ton of DD plastic anyway. So, I mean, I probably could have like handed it off to Dempsey or brought it to the shop to trade in or whatever, but they had some decent discs. Would you end up getting, Ben?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
It was because with Lone Star, you just kind of grab something. It was funny is that we were joking up on the way because I rode up with Michael and Bruce, another good buddy of ours and friend of the show, and we were just talking about how like seems like traditionally people pick out like the same four discs for like when they're building like their DD sponsored package, and we were like, and I personally have seen the order form. Like you can order from any of the
Yep.
brands. So I was like, oh, it'd be cool to see some West Side stuff in there because I don't know anything about West Side. So I ended up grabbing a West Side disc. I just don't remember which one it
I
was.
think there was a Northman
Um,
available, maybe?
And
that might be
I don't know.
pre-rate.
Yeah, because they had
Yeah,
there's Emax, there was a Lucid X Moonshine Trespass. I don't remember what, there was like
had a
five.
verdict.
Verdict? Okay. Yeah, I think there's like five discs to choose from or whatever there. Um, Last year I think I took a Verdict as well. They had like a Sparkle Moonshine one, or not Moonshine, but definitely a Sparkle or whatever it is. I forgot. Sparkle Lucid. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's tough because like you guys aren't going to add that to your bags because you have to throw 90% Lodestar, and like that other 10% you probably already got filled in. So it is what it is.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Clash takes up the other couple of spots, and so it's just like we're just filling in for the lineup that they don't currently have. But at the rate Lone Star's going, it's like going to be darn near impossible to pick any holes out and holes in the lineup, I should say, or holes in your bag to be like, there's nothing I can throw, right? Like the rate they're going. Oh man.
Yeah. Just look at last year with how many discs they've added.
Yeah, and the plastics they're adding.
I wouldn't be surprised if they. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to get my hands on that Charlie plastic. See what that's all about.
Have you felt any of the Delta plastic, Kaden?
No, I would like to. I'd like to see what that actually feels like. To my knowledge, it's kind of a cross between like the Victor plastic and their premium, but I haven't been able to feel it or anything, and I don't know how it flies in comparison to those other plastics.
We're not. Yeah. If you're working Sunday, I have let's see, I have the Delta One, Delta Two, MIDI, and I want to say Walker or no Texas Ranger. I might drop them off at the shop just so you can check them out.
Ooh, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Yeah. So
That's sweet.
I went heavy this week on MVP and Axiom because they had the OTB disc drops. I was really excited to get some of those discs. The Black Glitch with the Eclipse 2.0 rim was one of the big things I wanted to get, which is pretty sweet. Yeah. Hold on just a second. I got it right here. So yeah, this is it. I did a little unboxing on the on my YouTube channel, which I have done like maybe 3 videos ever. But yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of people have said that their rim doesn't glow as well, and maybe it's because it's a little denser, or I don't know what the deal is. Mine seem to glow pretty well. I'm not going to complain, but maybe also it has to do with the black, like neutron in the middle, or the R2. So I don't know if that has something to do with it not shining as bright. I don't know, but
Did ThoughtSpace do the stamp?
I don't know, but it's a pretty unique stamp. I have no idea what it is. It looks like almost like a vape pen, like, smoke or something. I have no idea, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. And then, I also got, what was it? This is the Trance, I think. 8-speed, fairway.
The new fair.
Yeah, new old. I don't know. Someone else. I think did they have it before, or maybe it was under a different name and re-released it.
I don't
know. Yeah, I got that and a couple other
sure.
discs, but yeah.
Here's a question for you. Does this signal like MVP essentially trying to recreate like Ledgestone, like with like MVP open drops or OTB open drops? Could you see that being a thing? Maybe not to the extent of Ledgestone, but something similar.
Well, it's interesting because this is only phase 1. There's going to be a phase 2. I don't know what those discs are. Someone had put it up on a Facebook group, the MVP Facebook discussion group or whatever, and I didn't notice what the discs are. But it kind of seems like Ledgestone's just huge in terms of like capacity of like people, what they offer and everything. But maybe they are trying to move that way. OTB, I mean, being one of the bigger disc retailers, why not? I mean, it'd kind of be like infinite, having like an infinite open and doing something like that too. Who knows? Maybe that will happen one day. But I kind of like the idea of these waves of discs. It helps create hype around certain molds maybe that are coming out in these packages. It'd almost be like sometimes Ledgestone, like they drop the ESP Flex. That's not a plastic you get normally. Now they have, since those discs came out, released that plastic, but at the time I don't think that was something that you could normally just get. So like there's some exclusivity. I think the way, like with the Trance just now recoming, that's the new disc. The Glitch and the R2, that's new plastic for them, to have that disc. So I don't know. We'll see. Any other thoughts on that?
I think I think that it definitely could be headed that way, because wasn't last year just a MVP Open Fission Hex and then maybe a Crate?
That could be.
And now that it's almost like they've got a whole lineup for this event. And with those glitches, I've seen the same thing in terms of the glow kind of lacking in comparison to the standard that they've been cranking out. But I've also stumbled across a post of one of those R2 glitches, and they actually ended up getting that glow compound in the flight plate as well. And it was seemed like it was almost a unicorn, or maybe one thing that MVP Axiom most I think yeah just MVP and Axiom to my knowledge they do variants like the
Mm-hmm.
axolotl. Um, so maybe they're gonna sneak in some sort of a variant with these lineups in the future for more hype and more exclusivity in the future.
I'd love to see a full eclipse glitch. That'd be pretty sick. Or like a full, or
Yeah.
what? There's that full prism disc, the pink one in the shop. I don't know. You showed me one time when I was in there, Kate.
Oh, a prism, yeah, a prism proton pyro.
Yes.
And that is a fairly common
Okay.
plastic combination for Axiom, but in terms of seeing that on a putter, that would be pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool. Knowing that they are starting to put, they just dropped, I mean, not just, but they had recently dropped that Fission Envy. They're starting to, do more premium plastics with those putters. But it would be really cool to see them, take that meme disc and really, do all of the different plastic variations with it, because my 10% right now, even though I'm rocking just like a G series bag, my one disc right now is actually a glitch. But depending on the conditions, it didn't really fare well for me at the springtime because of those headwinds. And the one that I was throwing was like the lightest.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a 141 in comparison to a whopping 154 grams. But yeah, it would be cool to see them do some different plastics and maybe get a little bit of different flight numbers out of that disc, since it's already a really interesting disc
Yeah,
to throw.
definitely. There's a guy on my card that threw one, and he's like, I don't know, it was a really short hole, but he like threw it with a tailwind. He's like, oh, it stayed too straight. This one's supposed to be a little more overstable, but I haven't encountered that with a glitch.
Oh. It holds whatever
Yeah.
line you put it on.
As an industry, how come we haven't figured out glow foil yet?
Ooh.
MVP actually does have it's like a sticker or something that you can put on flight plates. It's like a honeycomb or a hive type deal. But glow foil, that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Glow foil,
Yeah,
glow
I've seen the stickers, but when you were showing your OTB glitch, I was thinking like, how sweet would it be like to play like a glow round where just the foil just popped off like in the dark.
That'd be awesome.
That would be epic.
Ooh.
Epic.
If there are any disc manufacturers out there, please start working on this and get it more released.
I like that idea. Let's do it. All right, let's move on to the big event this weekend. We got the Music City Open presented by Lone Star Discs, and that's taking place in Nashville. We have obviously some of the big hitters. Kristen Tatar not being in town. She's taking some time off, I believe. Ricky, we'll talk about 50-50 and showing up, but what do you expect out of the tournament this weekend?
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I expect it to be kind of a good full field. I mean, I think that's just always going to be a debate, and it's unfortunate that when people win and they're like, well, the field was weak. But from a viewer standpoint, like a good field this week, just it'll be exciting just to kind of see everybody out there. I think based on what I've seen, a lot of people have said like the TDs have made some changes for the better that like some of the pros have really liked. So that's exciting. It's always nice when TDs listen from like a course design standpoint of like, this could be better, this worked, this didn't work, that sort of thing. So I think it's just an event that everybody's just really excited for. And, it's got a good mix from what I remember. Like there's some tight wooded holes, and then there's some stuff that's a little bit more open. So, yeah, should be a good time. I'm excited to kind of see what happens. And this is an event where traditionally we've seen kind of some underdogs kind of perform pretty well. I mean, considering like Mason Ford has a victory there. Not that he's really an underdog, but he's not somebody that we usually see on the podium a lot. So traditionally, this event has kind of been a wild card. So I'm excited to kind of see what happens.
Absolutely. Kaden, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what's going to come of it. I watched a little bit of the practice round recorded by Brody Smith and Ezra Adderhold, and some of those layout changes that have been made. They made a couple of those holes a bit longer. They even added some OB on some of those holes, just so I think it's to kind of keep up the pace of play for some of those pros, because if you were to throw a long right or something like that, you'd be in the woods, and rather than marking your lie and taking your relief, they'd be in the thickness and kind of struggling, and that's where the backups would be. But yeah, I enjoyed watching some of the coverage from last year and seeing Mason Ford basically park it. I can't remember the hole it was on, but it was just a long swooping hyzer that was high and wide and almost dunked it. And it's gonna be a really good tournament to watch. I believe Chris Dickerson has a really good track record in terms of taking the win at that course and at that event. So it'd be cool to see what he's up to and see how he's doing. Maybe if he can snag it back.
Yeah, we'll see Chris back. He's been off for a little bit, I believe. And also returning this week will be Kona and Colton Montgomery. Kona was out with her thyroid issue. They're usually pretty open on social media about what they have going on and everything, but I haven't heard much about how she's feeling. But she dropped an In the Bag the other day as well, just kind of trying to hype everybody up with her return. I don't honestly think she'll be competing for like a top spot, but she might make things interesting in the FPO field. So
at least shake off the
cobwebs, absolutely. And also on social media, I saw, like we were talking about long holes. I saw Ella Hansen bomb a hole that was like pretty much blind, and she parked it. And then AB as well, I think, off. I don't know if his hole one's super long, but he ended up parking a hole. So it's gonna be fun to just see people unleash discs this weekend and see how it goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bomber.
Do you guys want to make some picks for this weekend? See what we got going down. Top three. Yeah, I did too.
Just so
I'm pulling it up right now as well.
Not picking Rogers or anything.
Back from the dead. He'll be singing. He's musical.
Yeah, friendly neighbor.
Who wants to start it out? Go Ben.
I can start. Well, do we want to do both MPO and FPO, or do we want to just do one division and go around? Yeah, let's start with MPO, and then we'll go back around snake style or FPO. Okay. I am going to go with James Conrad. I feel like he's due for one. Mason Marchbanks, he kind of appeared out of nowhere in Austin, and if I remember kind of correctly, if my memory is not too poor, similar kind of courses a little bit as far as just like the mix of kind of how it plays. And then Calvin Heimberg because I'm not a fool, and that
On
guy
fire.
has just been, yeah. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So that guy just has been playing so well. So those are my three, and then I'm going to give an honorable mention to Chris Dickerson, just solely because he's a Tennessee guy and Tennessee.
Yes,
Home
absolutely.
advantage.
Yep.
A donkey. What you got?
All right. I think in terms of taking the win, I'm probably gonna have to go with. I'm gonna say Simon Lizotte since he took second at Austin, or at is it Texas State?
Yeah.
Either way, I'm gonna root for him. I think he could take it. And then number 2, I'm gonna have to go with. I think. Oh, it was on the tip of my tongue. I'm gonna say Chris Dickerson, just based off of his track record there. He's a solid player. And number 3, I also am gonna pick Calvin Heimberg, just because he's a cyborg. Especially
It's
since
just
it's
too hard to pick against. It's too hard to pick against him at this point. Like a first, a third, and a third is very hard to go against the grain on that.
Yeah.
He's just so consistent.
I mean, it's not a run like Kristen, although I feel like he could have a run like Kristen staying on a podium for how well he's playing. But I feel like there's a lot of people that could also catch up to him and knock him off the podium. But I mean, at this point in time, you just can't pick against him. Absolutely not. All right. I'm going to start as number 3 pick. My number 3 pick is going to be Mason Ford. My number 2 is going to be Simon. And I think my number 1 is going to be, I'm going to say Chris Dickerson. I just said don't pick against Heimberg, but Calvin's going to be my honorable mention. Yeah. All right. Solid 3, I guess. And then we're going to snake back on the FPO. And I'm going to take number 3. Give me Holland Hanley. I know we've picked her quite a bit on this podcast, but I don't care. I think this is the type of course where she can play well. Number 2, give me Ella Hansen. Another bomber.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I do want to see her get a W one of these days because I think that'd be tremendous for her. And then, I mean, in term for her, just to have that win, but that would also, I think, open up the chance for her to get a signature disc from Discmania. I mean, she has this Shield series like Casey White, but it seems like you got to get that win, kind of like what Innova does. You got to get an Elite Series win or, big win before you can get a signature disc. So it'd be cool to see her get that. And then number 1, I'm going to take, I just saw her name. Moving up. Give me Missy Gannon.
Sayonara.
Yeah.
Another solid FPO. I'm seeing Kristen Tatar is on this lineup.
Yeah, she is, but I believe she was going to go home to conduct some business for the next couple of weeks, and then make her way back for Champions Cup, I believe. So I don't know if that's true, but yeah, I think she's actually not in the tournament this week.
She has a
She does, actually. I wonder. She might be.
She might be playing. I saw an Instagram video of her throwing off of a a tee pad that was turfed, that was like an old football
Really?
turf, and it had lines on it. And I don't think that they have
I wouldn't
those
think
in
so either.
Estonia.
Huh.
So with
Okay. I mean,
so
maybe
so maybe she's here.
maybe I
Maybe
got
she's
some bum
here.
information.
Me-
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
As of right now, she's playing with Lisa Fakis, Kat, and Kat,
Oh, you're
the two
right. I
cats.
do see that she's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. That
Well, that
changes things.
everything.
It changes everything.
I could have sworn she
Alright,
said she was
I
gonna be
might
back
have
home for a
a
little while.
solid 3 out of here then.
Oh, excuse me. All right, Kaden.
All right.
Well,
What's that, Ben?
I was just gonna say, well, she didn't play.
Texas State's
She didn't play Texas State's, and then last week was technically
week.
like an off week. Like there wasn't an event, so maybe those are the
Maybe.
two events.
Yeah,
or the
that could
2
be that.
weeks that he was back home.
Anyway, I'll stick with my picks. Okay. Kristen will be my honorable mention.
All right. There you go. She's in there. All right. Well, with that information, my 3 has changed. I'm going to go in JP fashion. I'm going to start with number 3. I think I'm going to put number 3 as Haley
Ooh.
King, just
Mm.
because she's got the distance. I think she would definitely benefit from that course layout in comparison to some of the other FPO players. My number 2, I'm gonna go with Kristen Tatar. I'm gonna put her at number 2 just because she's coming back, so she doesn't have maybe as many rounds in as the other FPL players. And then for my winner, I'm going to be rooting for Ella Hansen because I feel like in terms of, a long course, you gotta put her up
Absolutely.
there. 'Cause, I mean, distance driver competitor.
Mm. Ben, what you got?
All right. In my 3rd, I'm going to go Henna because she can bomb, and she's slowly but surely figured out her putting, so I think she'll be in the mix. Number 2, I'm going to go Cat Merch. And then I think then my winner, I'm going to go Macy
Ooh.
Valadiaz. I'm going to go kind of dark horse. I think she's good enough. I think she's just another one of those players that's like definitely talented, definitely good enough. It's just kind of needs the event to have everything, all the pieces kind of come together. And I think that this would be a good one for her. I think she's due one. She's had her ups and downs so far.
She did win that.
She's due one.
Yeah.
I know, a little home cooking. She's from Tennessee, so a little home cooking there. And then just to wrap it up, my honorable mention, shout out to Matt, who picks Caroline Henderson every single week for his honorable mention until she gets one. So
she's moving up. She's one of those people who
yeah,
is figuring it out fairly quickly and is going to kind of cement herself in that top 20 pretty soon. Even though like she has a low rating, she's figuring out the tour life pretty quickly. Most definitely. And Macy, I think didn't she win the very first wraparound event earlier in like November?
she did, because she made a bet with Zach Melton that if she won an event, she could shave his head.
Yeah, and he was a man of his word. He did it. So
yeah,
cool. So one of the names that we kind of glossed over for MPO was Mr. Richard Wysocki. And he has kind of come out and said that he's 50-50 as far as playing. I think he said he was 50-50, and then someone kind of asked him, well, does that mean you're playing? And they're like, not necessarily. So what do you guys make right now? How do you think Ricky's health is And when can we foreseeably see him make like a recovery and a return?
It's hard to say, because with him, he's not a big, I mean, he's a social media guy, but he's not a big social media guy. Like, he's not posting all the time, just kind of updates as needed. It's like, it's really hard to get a gauge of like where he's at or like how close he really is, which is fine. Like, he doesn't need to give us all those details, but it's just like, it's hard to tell like if he's even close or if he's just still like super far out. So, I think that's the hard part as a fan, is to really kind of to see. Um, but as far as like just him on a playing level, if you're even questioning it, and obviously, there's some, I gotta stick to my guns here because it's what I did over the weekend. Like, if you're even questionable, it's not even worth it, in my opinion, to run it out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you know, especially as a professional and having that competitive mindset, that if you're not 100% sure, then how do you know that your game's going to be 100% per se? And since with Lyme's in general, flare-ups, as far as I know, they can be fairly unpredictable. But I really don't know. And based off of looking at his tournament results, even the Open at Austin, I'm not really seeing much of anything. So um, yeah, I've seen more of status updates on his social media, and maybe munching on some food, and that's about it. So as of right now, I don't know if he's really going to be going for it, if he's already saying that there's only a 50% chance.
Yeah, just a little teaser, keeping people guessing. But like what Ben was saying and what you were saying, to come back early, like he did drop out of was the Open in Austin, right? Or was it Texas State that he dropped out? Yeah. I mean, as a fan, that's disappointing to see. Like, you're like rooting for somebody else, and you're like, oh, they got to drop out. And like, all of a sudden you get this like high of like him coming back. And what if the same thing happens? And you're like, oh man, or, something worse happens. And it's like, well, I guess we'll never know when we see Rick. Or is he going to make another post saying he's 50-50 about entering things? Now, he may never actually be 100% during the season. No athlete like coming back from injuries like ever like really 100%, like 98%, whatever. But I feel like
Mm-hmm.
he has that competitive edge where he just wants to compete, but knowing that he can't compete at 100%, that would just kind of like kill me inside. Not knowing that like I gave it my all and just being like half-heartedly in it.
Yeah. Yeah, just I tried my best. I'm here, and then you go and compete, and then you're at the bottom of the leaderboard. Maybe he'll end up taking a longer sabbatical after that, since he's not getting the results that he's looking for, or even remotely close to it.
I was gonna ask, he kind of had some like Wisconsin ties to a doctor, I think from Milwaukee, like his nutritionist for a while. Do you got anybody know if he's still with that guy? He was caddying for him like a couple of years ago at I believe it was Silver Creek, or he was out on one of the Elite Series stops, and I don't know if he still uses them or not, or if he's just kind of going his own way now as far as diagnosing and medicating and all that stuff.
I have I have no idea. I just know pretty much what you guys know, and that he went with a holistic approach to his like
Mm-hmm.
rehab and recovery, as far as the Lyme stuff. So I'm not entirely sure with where he's at right now, but I would assume that he's still kind of going that route of, you know, the holistic, no kind of medications, just kind of eat right, take care of yourself. Um, but I'm not a doctor, so I can't weigh on it if that's like the right thing to do or not. But I would guess that that's where he's at still. But if any Wisconsin ties, no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure either in that regard, based off of who he's working with or anything. Um, as far as updates, seems like the latest and greatest thing is his new slammers, and that's about it. The promos and whatnot. Yeah, in terms of how he's going about treating himself, I'm not entirely sure with what's going on currently.
Yeah. If I were Ricky, I would just lay low. Like not even say anything about Winter coming back, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, I mean, maybe it might take half the year or the whole year or whatever it is, but like just have this kind of grand, like coming out of the dark, almost like Aaron Rodgers coming out of his dark chamber or whatever it is. Like nobody knows when he's like gonna do it, and then all of a sudden just do it and show up at a tournament and like have everybody be wowed and excited and kind of like exuberant. Yeah. Carrying sake bomb felons and sake bomb slammers and just tossing them out to people left and right. I don't know, but
yeah, seriously. Yeah, I think
it's just gonna be tough for him. It's gonna be just tough for him because I think I've said this before, but disc golf is just one of those games or those sports where, especially on the pro tour, we've just seen, people that get in a groove and they get in a rhythm and they just kind of get hot and stay hot. I think Calvin's in one of those right now where it's just one of those where, they may never finish off their podium again, or like, you feel good, you play good. And I think not having a whole lot of momentum to build up to any of the majors is going to be kind of tough for Rick. That's just my 2 cents, my armchair analyst in me. But I mean, historically, it's been there of like the people that do pretty well at majors are, ones that are in a rhythm, in a groove, and can sustain that. And I think like majors are 4 and 5 rounds, and if Ricky hasn't been playing, that much disc golf because of the rehab, where's he going to be by round 4? Just is he going to run out of gas? It's just these are all questions that we just don't know the answer to. But just my take.
Well, and he's also been saying that his rehab is not a sprint but a marathon. So, if he's alluding to that in terms of his recovery, then are you going to be able to do the marathon of a major? Are you going to be able to endure that long and to be able to be that consistent for that long? I don't know. I feel like there are plenty of other MPO players that are just kind of chomping at the bit, that are showing up to these events, that are trying to, sneak in and steal that spot. So it's a little worrisome for the sake bomb right now.
Definitely. Yeah, it's one of those sports where easy to follow behind and also not so easy to make up ground. So it'll be interesting to see how he finishes out the season when he comes back, and that's one of the biggest storylines we're going to have this year. So it's just one of those things we're always going to have to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on and talk about the Throwdown the Mountain, which took place in Florida. And lo and behold, the man who ended up buying the property ends up winning it. So, yeah. He beat the likes of...
pretty enthused about that course layout, too.
Yeah. He ended up being... Johnny McRae was there, Thomas Gilbert. I think I saw Nate Perkins. Not A-tier event, so, I mean, not a lot of big names expected, especially when there's an Elite Series coming up and taking time to get ready for that. Anything else to say about Paul taking it down this weekend?
It's because he got all those extra practice days, because he just owns the course, so he gets all those free practice days. But no, but in all seriousness, Yeah. In all seriousness, though, it's an event he's played for a long time, and obviously it was close to his heart to buy the property. So it's not really a surprise to me that he takes down an event that he's played for a long time. And yeah, I think he talked about having like an itch to kind of figure some stuff out. So obviously he used that time
Mhm.
to do so.
Yeah, I can't really rally off much more than that in terms of the entire situation. Basically just what I said. He's and based off of what Ben had said, he got those extra practice rounds, and he likes that. He likes that course. He's definitely put a lot of time in on that course. Here's my cat. She can't get enough. Um, but yeah, and I mean it's Paul Macbeth, so it's he's a contender, the majority of the time just from showing up. So it's not much of a surprise to see him take a win.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it was almost like just like,
pretty cool ace
oh
at
yeah,
that too.
I know he definitely got like a sick eagle on like an elevated elevated tee box down to like a pretty tight across like a valley almost, and like tightens up near the basket. He just parked it perfectly.
Yeah,
I saw that clip. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But yeah, it's funny too because like you like already you already walked the property with like Dylan, because he talked about it earlier last week. Um, just kind of going through and like talking about extending holes and everything. And it's like, I don't know, another just like a walk. This is like a walk in your backyard now. Like, oh, I get to play this hole. Yeah, I know this hole now. I know this, but pretty exciting. And then uh, on the
yeah,
FPO side, a little bit of controversy. We had Natalie Ryan taking down the win over Morgan and Jordan Lynn's. Looks like Ellen
Jordan.
Widboom was there, and that's pretty much the top four. But Natalie went to a playoff hole with Morgan, and she's allowed to compete since it's an A tier. And lo and behold, she takes it down and ends up securing a spot for throw pink. And from what I understand, the Lynn's twins mother was none too thrilled about Natalie being able to compete and being she basically said that this man had beaten her girls, putting it lightly. And she said, you two are 1 and 2 in my book in this event. I don't care who placed above you. So Natalie moves on. She can compete and throw pink because it's an X tier. And I mean, she's not doing anything wrong. She's following rules of what she's allowed to do. So
No.
unfortunate set of circumstances that she gets she gets kind of raked over the coals for being able to do what she's allowed to do.
Exactly. Yeah, Ben, you had said it. You said it basically perfectly before we had before we started recording, and that was, for the Lynn's twins mom, any quarrels you have, take it up with the PDGA. It's she's showing up, she's playing, and she took the win. And it came down to a playoff. It wasn't like she blew the doors off of the entire competition or anything. And even if she were to blow the doors off of the competition, uh, we've seen that done by other FPO players that don't have the same situation. So, in terms of any sort of advantage or anything like that, I feel like it went to a playoff. It was good competition, and if anything, don't bring negative exposure to the sport. Bring some positivity behind it. It's pretty awesome to see a playoff because you get to see some extra disc golf.
I feel like we've just on this show and every other podcast, we've just kind of beaten a dead horse, and it's just like I don't think it's ever going to go away, which is fine because it's just very topical. Things are happening. Natalie's got some lawsuits going on, so it is relevant. But I think when it comes to like the actual competition portion of things, it's just like it's getting to be redundant because it's just Natalie Ryan doing everything within the rules before the change and now the change. So it's just like I don't know what more people expect of her, and that if you have expectations, then like I said, you should you need to take them up with the PDGA because it's just not doing any good for anything with um with Natalie and having other expectations other than her to follow the rules, right? Like that's just all you can kind of ask of somebody. So
yeah, and
Yeah, I don't. She's not doing anything wrong, and that's the worst part about it, and the fact that she ends up catching the heat from it. How long you think about her own threshold in terms of the negativity. How long, how much can someone take in regards to all of all of this? Following the rules, doing what they can to dot their T or dot their I's and cross their T's. So I mean, personally, I wouldn't have anywhere near the patience for such intolerance. So that's that's my 2 cents on that whole thing. I think it's just to the point where it's redundant and it's bringing, there. If anything, the PDGA needs to make a change, and if they are to make that change, there's always going to be someone that's unhappy with what that change is. So I don't know. It's
it is
annoying.
very annoying. Just to like we've said, the conversation's been had so many times that it gets tiresome to talk about. But this does come up, and I don't know, if this was just like a tournament that perhaps wasn't a qualifier for Throw Pink, maybe it wouldn't have been such a huge ordeal, to see that happen. But maybe it would have been as well because that's how the mom really feels and whatever. But yeah, you're not changing anybody's minds anytime any sooner. And that's that. So, but, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Can't win them all.
Okay, Ben, we didn't have it on our schedule, but it's time for the question of the week. What do you got?
okay. Without going too off the rails, we save off the rails for a different show. What is one conspiracy theory that you kind of believe and you kind of think has some merit?
Oh, I love conspiracy theories. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
My conspiracy theory that I kind of believe is that like Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone in the JFK assassination plot or the actual assassination. I think that there were other people involved, whether they were in committing the assassination or not. I don't know, but I think that there's no way that he acted alone.
Okay, all right. There were two gunmen at the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
All right. I think conspiracy theory for me would have to be. Oh, there's just so many. I mean, well, this actually, I guess this isn't really a. It could be considered a conspiracy theory, but it's actually fact. Is if if you're familiar with like some of those market generic brands when you go to the grocery store in terms of like Walmart, Great Value, or Aldi's got their own lineup and whatnot. All of those things, the cereal, the Pop Tarts, they're all made by the same manufacturer. So if you're getting Pop Tarts or if you're getting Cheerios made by General Mills, and then you're at Aldi or something like that, um, the off-brand is manufactured at the same location. It's got the same ingredients, and it's just cheaper because it's not the name brand. So that's my hot
I,
take, but it's
I
not
actually
even a hot
knew
take because it's fact.
I knew that about like the Sam's Club Members Mark brand and like the Costco Kirkland brand, but I didn't know that about just like the everyday grocery store brand. So
Yep, Trader Joe's does it as well, and
well, Trader
now
Joe's and Aldi are the
there's
same company.
well,
I didn't know that either.
that's news to me, but even
Yeah.
more reason to prove my point.
Yep. So that's why we don't have a Trader Joe's in this area. I actually know this is that so it's because it's the same company. They don't want to kind of cannibalize sales, so they will only put their stores within certain distances of each other. Or like a Trader Joe's will only go within a certain distance of so many Aldi. And Northeast Wisconsin has so many Aldi
Mm,
that
Mm-hmm.
there's just not a spot for a Trader Joe's to kind of go in
interesting.
the area.
I have one more to go off of that as well in terms of brands selling the same thing, but like with a different name or whatever associated to it. But if you were to be, say, you're traveling or whatnot, you're in the hotel room, you're trying to order some food, and this is all recent information to me from a source that the wife and I thoroughly enjoy watching their videos and whatnot. But if you were to be ordering food and you're just kind of shopping through like Grubhub, something like that, and you want to order a chicken sandwich or whatever, and you want to support a local shop, you want to try something local, something new to yourself, whatever. Um, there are instances where locations like Red Robin or Applebee's, they will actually create a completely different restaurant, have a mascot, have a website, the whole
I
nine.
actually know one of these.
Yeah, and you can order through that website and basically order a chicken sandwich from that main chain restaurant and say you ordered, those two chicken sandwiches at the same time from two different restaurants. They'll come in the same packaging, they'll be delivered by the same person, and they will
Hmm.
be the exact same. So
Pasquale's
do with
Pizza.
that. Yep,
Pasquale's Pizza
exactly.
is Chuck E. Cheese
What?
pizza.
It is.
So if you see Pasquale's Pizza, like if you're in anywhere near a Chuck E. Cheese in the area, and you see like on a Grubhub or like a DoorDash, or like I've gotten some Facebook ads for him, Pasquale's Pizza. It is Charles Entertainment Cheese Pizza.
Mm-hmm. And all those pizza slices don't line up or match or anything. It's all
Interesting.
Chuck E. Cheese. And Pasquale is actually the name of the Italian character within there. He's basically like, the stereotypical Italian pizzeria guy. His name is Pasquale, so that's where the name comes from.
Hmm.
So,
I did not know that part.
yeah, there's a couple of knowledge
Nice.
nuggets for you.
I've never actually had to use Grubhub before,
Oh,
so that's an interesting. All right. My conspiracy is that the Great Pyramids were not just built by the Egyptians, and there was some other being or force used to help them build them. Like the tools and the physics of everything,
yeah.
for them to be able to, the way the bricks are laid, the angle at which they have to go up and everything, doesn't make sense. The weight of the stone that were used to build them, and like the amount of force or anything to push or pull that is just ridiculous. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson has talked about this a couple, on some other things. And he's just a fascinating person in general to listen to and talk about, science in general. But yeah, it's hard for me to believe that they were not just given the tools or they're more technologically advanced than what we actually believe what could happen. So that's something I believe.
Oh yeah, I second that one for sure. And there's
Yeah.
a whole thing in regards to pyramids themselves and the shape of them, and that they actually there's scientists that are messing with pyramids, and they're using them on like a subatomic structure in terms of doing things with cellular design, and they're noticing that they're actually able to get an electromagnetic current that's only generated by using those pyramid structures. So pyramids in general are really fascinating structures to learn about and think about the Mayans, and that's another advanced ancient civilization that, a lot of their main monoliths, if that's the right word, is
it's
pyramid.
an interesting shape because it's one of the strongest shapes in the world. It's the pyramid, the triangle in general. And then you get to the point about where they have been built and what that signifies, and the actual formation of which they've been built and the direction they're facing and all that stuff. And it gets to be pretty interesting if you believe in that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Absolutely.
Alrighty. Last but not least, we're going to finish up with some door disc golf shop updates. Got Kaden, and might know a little bit. Shane usually is up on the everything because he's the one that orders and he can tell us everything. But what do you know, Kaden? What do we got in the shop?
Right now, the biggest thing is going to be those Horizon.
Yeah.
What's the word?
Cloud breakers.
Yeah. So those are pretty exciting. Some pretty cool looking colors. Some of the ones that we have actually gotten in stock. We've got a yellow-black disc itself, where it is beautiful, it's vibrant, some really good color combinations. Another one that we've got coming is the MD1, the C-Line MD1s, and other than that, I believe it's a lot more Discraft. We've got a lot more Discraft stuff that's being added into our inventory right now by Kev.
Got to meet Kevin the other day. I met him, and turns out his brother owns, no free ads, but Rusty Dusty in Ephraim. So
yeah, really cool.
Yeah, originally from Green Bay. I stopped in there last Friday just to see what was going on, introduce myself before I went out and played like a little practice round it. So yeah, nice guy. Cool to meet him. All right.
Oh yeah, and he's doing a great job with the social medias and generating some content on there and showing people what we've got in house. So thank you, Kevin.
Excellent. All right. Anything else to add for this episode? No? Nothing?
I'm good. Just gotta do the thing. Just gotta rate and subscribe and do the thing.
But what about your own Shane isn't here to bring it up.
It's not OnlyFans anymore. We're working on getting the there's a point we were trying to figure out if there's something we can do with Spotify and they have a way to support us. And then we're still working on figuring out Patreon. So that will be something in the mix. I mean, we've been talking about it for a little while, but to really get it nailed down and whatever, we'll get it going. We've got a year. We gave ourselves a year window. Hopefully it'll be shorter than that. We might put like back catalogs and episodes and hopefully come up with some original content to put on there. I think that's something, because it's like, what do we put on there? What do we put on Door Disc Golf? What do we, I don't know, but we'll come up with something.
Door Disc Conspiracies.
Kaden just started his own podcast right there. You know who would be good with that? I think Jordan's kind of conspiracy.
Make something happen.
Isn't he kind of into conspiracies a little bit? Yeah. Or I don't know if it's that, but
yeah,
along those lines. So thanks everybody for listening, tuning in, perhaps watching this on the Door Disc YouTubes. Be sure to check out Casual Relief episodes Wednesdays, and we'll have short videos up on the social medias and everywhere else. So JP signing off. Peace.